All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Pounds to Kilos. I'm your host. If you're joining us for the first time, my name's Ed Morrison. This episode is actually something a little bit different. So we've been having some guests on, and I've also been sort of reporting on happenings, particularly in the CrossFit Games season thus far. I was fortunate enough a few weeks ago to go up to the launch of the Reebok CrossFit Nano 9, and I was able to cover that event and cover that day. So this particular show is basically like a video blog, if you will, of that day. So for my friends listening on podcasts, you're certainly going to get a number of the interviews that I had throughout that, but this is a better show to listen to on YouTube. Now, I want to make something clear about this show. This is not intended to be like just effusive praise of Reebok, who launched the Nano 9, or the WOD Life, who threw the event, although I hold both those companies in very high regard. It's more so that part of my draw, or my fascination with the CrossFit community in general, is all these little, I guess, businesses and cultural things that have popped up that has been created through CrossFit. What do I mean by that? I mean, the WOD Life is a perfect example of that. This is started, as you'll hear in this show, by two gents who just wanted to get themselves their hands on some kit, and then all of a sudden, like, this business erupts due to the CrossFit community wanting to have that kit as well. So, you know, through people being entrepreneurial, I've always got lots of time for anybody who's entrepreneurial, but particularly in the CrossFit space, when they're catering to this community, it just seems to do sort of magical things. Now, Reebok's obviously that's a different example, but the individuals that are looking after the CrossFit community from Reebok in Australia are just high caliber people that just want to see the community do really well. And there's so many small businesses that are specializing in products and services for our community, and I just find it really cool. I just think to myself that without CrossFit, those people wouldn't have got that opportunity. And then on the flip side of that is, how cool is it that our community gets the opportunity to use those products and services thanks to the type of people that are opening those businesses. And a lot of the time it's somebody who comes up with an idea for themselves and creates a business around that, or they potentially take a brand that they've seen be successful in the States, and then that brand makes its way over to Australia. I think probably without knowing a heap about it, it sort of seems like the Fit Aid model followed that type of design, where it was quite successful in the States. And then I know the people that are in charge of Fit Aid Australia, and they're really good people. They're box owners. They understand the community. So yeah, that's just something that I, as a CrossFitter and as a trainer, a coach, a level 1 and 2 seminar staff member, like, it's just something that I think is really, really important, and what sets our community apart from other fitness communities and makes it really cool. By the way, on that, how's my new bright orange CrossFit t-shirt? For those that are still listening on the podcast, it's about as subtle as a brick. It's the same color as my hair, and then it aggressively says CrossFit across the top. So I just stroll down my local street with this, and just like, everyone's just like, oh, that guy obviously does CrossFit. And I'm just like, yeah, I do CrossFit. I don't care what you think. Anyway, on that. Yeah, so this show is, I guess, this is the covering of the event, but for me, it was really cool to catch up with some people, such as Andy from the WOD Life, who owns the WOD Life, along with Ben, and just talk to him about how it started and what his story was. And I want to say to the other business owners, affiliate owners, anybody out there, like, I want to hear your story. Like, that's what this show was about. It was about trying to hear stories from the community. And it's not just about athletes and coaches, although that is definitely a huge fascination of mine. But what about the people that started small businesses and now find themselves dedicated fully to servicing the CrossFit community by, you know, selling something as simple as a skipping rope? That type of stuff is, like I said, it's really interesting to me. So I hope you enjoy this. A little bit of review of the shoe itself, a little bit of my own thoughts on sort of what the Reebok CrossFit Nano has done throughout the CrossFit community. And then, yeah, some really cool interviews with some really cool people. So yeah, enjoy the show and keep converting pounds to kilos. All right, guys, I've just arrived in Sydney for tonight's event, which is the launch of the Reebok CrossFit Nano 9, hosted by the WOD Life. I was so excited for this event that I had to get up this morning at 4 a.m. I've done a training session, I've coached 2 classes, quickly got to the airport, and then got myself here. So We're going to check out the day exploring Sydney, maybe exploring a little bit of the box, CrossFit Bondi, while the event's being held. And then we're going to throw down tonight whilst using the new Nano 9. So I can't wait. I'm going to bring it all to you. Right guys, well, we couldn't have got much more of a beautiful day here today for the launch of the Reebok CrossFit Nano 9, brought to you by the WOD Life. I'm at beautiful Bondi Beach and I'll head back up to CrossFit Bondi for the event this evening. And I thought while I was coming down here that I'd just reflect a little bit on sort of what the Nano, that shoe has meant to the CrossFit community over the years that it's been, I guess, when it was first conceived in 2011. And I still remember flicking on the CrossFit Games in 2011 and all the Games athletes were wearing these bright yellow shoes. And I remember being like, what's going on? And then it occurred to me, oh, this is that CrossFit shoe that people are talking about. This is the Nano. And since then, there's been another 8 evolutions of that thing. And tonight we get the 9th. And it probably feels like for me, and I guess for many CrossFitters, that for the last 8 or 9 years, the majority of time that I've spent walking around has been in a Nano. Every now and then I'll chuck on a pair of dress shoes or a pair of thongs, but for someone like me who coaches at a box or trains at a box every day, a good portion of your existence is probably spent in the Reebok CrossFit Nano. And it might sound like a bit of a far cry, but I can almost document the last sort of 8 years of my life based on which Nano I was wearing. Now, some of you might think that's a bit extreme, but I think about the Nano 1, and that was when I just started becoming a trainer at a CrossFit gym, and I was so excited about having the latest gear of everything, which I still am, but I was a little bit more over the top with it then. And then the Reebok 2, the Nano 2 and the Nano 3 came out, and as soon as those things dropped, I had them on my feet straight away. I'll never forget the Nano 3, I got sent a pair of those because I'd just been accepted onto CrossFit seminar stuff, and I remember unboxing this beautiful pair of black and red Nano 3s. Then the Nano 4 and 5s, for me, that was a period where I was overseas working in China, and I specifically remember just wearing Nano 4 and 5s into the ground because I just wore them everywhere throughout my travels. And then the Nano 6, 7 and 8, particularly the 6 and 7, they sort of, that was when I returned home and started coaching at a new CrossFit gym. The Nano 8 has been on my feet predominantly for pounds to kilos whenever I've filmed anything for them. So I guess what I can do is sort of break down different portions of my CrossFit life as to which Nano that I was wearing, and I'm sure a lot of CrossFitters will do the same. But tonight we get a new era of Nano. We get the Nano 9, and from the little sneak peeks that I've seen already, this is an absolutely beautiful shoe, not to mention super functional. We've seen a few things on social media from high levels Games athletes that got access to it early, so I cannot wait for it to be out and about and available to you. It drops at midnight tonight, so stay tuned, grab yourself a pair as soon as they're available from either the WOD Life or Reebok.
I'ma make you pop like that.
Hey guys, I'm here with Andy, the co-founder of the WOD Life. Andy, we were claiming before that this is the global launch of the Nano 9.
The global launch, we'll take that. We'll get the benefit of the time zone here.
But if we're getting the benefit of the time zone, then we need to also admit that potentially New Zealand, and what was the other country that you named?
I threw New Mia out there. That's somewhere in the Pacific.
Right, so if you want a Nano 9 before midnight tonight, you can go to New Mia and order a Nano 9 there.
Maybe if they do Reebok there.
If they have a Reebok there.
Reebok website.
So cool. We're at CrossFit Bondi, mate, and like this is a cool event you're throwing. It's like the Nano 9's been pitched as the Nano for all, and this event's trying to reflect that. What can you tell me about what we're doing here?
Yeah, for sure. We're super excited. The WOD Life, we're partnering with Reebok here for the Nano 9, and it is the Nano for all. So what we've tried to do today here at Bondi and later tonight is invite as many people from the community as possible, as a small intimate gym can fit.
Yep.
I've heard rumours that they've only done 19 people in a WOD here before.
And what are we expecting tonight?
We've gone for 35.
Okay, cool.
So there might be a few partner movements.
Slightly less than double.
Yeah, but we'll squeeze it in.
Yeah, that's cool. Now, we've got a few special guests running the class tonight, hey?
We do,
yep.
we do. We've got a well-known Australian CrossFitter by the name of Rob Ford.
I've heard of him before.
So he is coaching the class, I guess you could say, tonight.
Yep.
But he's going to have some fun in the limited space, seeing what sort of movements he can put together. We're thinking dumbbells, not so many barbells.
Yeah, I was just
There might be a
thinking
few wall balls.
double unders I can't see really springing up in this space here.
Yeah, double unders, box jumps, they're all going to be a bit dangerous, so we'll see what we can get away with.
That's okay, I'm good with neither of those appearing. Before, we were just sort of chatting at a cafe about like the WOD Life and Reebok and sort of there's other things like sort of what I've tried to do with Pounds to Kilos. Like they're really trying to provide a bit of a service to the community. I know that's what like the WOD Life sort of started as this place where the CrossFitter could go and get a bunch of kit.
Yeah.
Did you imagine that this would be the type of event you'd be running when you started something
No,
like that?
I mean, this far exceeds any of our wildest dreams.
Yeah.
We were just, Ben and I, fellow co-founder, we were just two guys in Australia who couldn't actually get any of this gear.
Yeah, right.
So I think it was 6 or 7 years ago, we couldn't get any of this gear.
So this started almost just for yourself.
Well, we were working corporate jobs, and we were just two CrossFitters wanting to get some gear ourselves to work out. Couldn't get it.
Yeah.
So we said, hang on, what about if we find out where we can get it and try and bring it in? Because we had mates and friends that wanted the gear as well.
That's crazy.
So it all started from a jump rope, and here we are tonight, partnering with Reebok, one of the biggest brands in CrossFit.
Are you telling me that if you'd found a jump rope that day, you'd gone on the internet, then you'd never started the WOD Life?
This
Sweet,
might
got my
not be
jump.
a thing at all. If I wanted to get faster at my double unders and the curly tattered wire rope at the gym was good enough, this might not exist. So super cool that we've got to this point.
Thank you for that crappy rope at the gym.
Absolutely.
Mate, before I let you go, because I know you're very busy, what's on the horizon for the WOD Life? You guys are always doing such cool stuff and events like this. Like, what can we expect later into the year?
Yeah, definitely. Well, this is the first event of its type in Australia. We're really excited to have the community as part of the brand and to help us launch this shoe tonight.
Yep.
Australia is our home, but we've had people all over the world knocking down our door.
Awesome.
We're really excited to relaunch the US.
Wow.
Probably looking at July this year to be fair. It's long overdue. The US and then the rest of the world from there. So we want to be able to spread the word and the message with everyone to inspire some active lives and help people discover what they're capable of with the WOD Life. So we're really excited for the back half of the year, and there's big things happening.
Dude, that sounds awesome. Well, I'm excited for that, but I'm just as excited right now to try these shoes out and get tonight kicking. So thank you for joining us.
Absolutely.
I can't wait for another one of these events already.
Let's wait for the 10. Hey,
cheers, mate. Thank you.
Cheers, Ed.
Guys, I just got to CrossFit Bondi and managed to get my hands on a pair of Reebok CrossFit Nano 9 just a few hours early. Do you know what? It's pretty manic here. They're setting up for what's going to be an awesome night. So I'm going to grab myself maybe a dumbbell, maybe a jump rope, head over to the park and give these bad boys a spin so I can let you know how they are. Fair to say over the last few years, I've opened a fair few Reebok shoe boxes, but I feel like this is one that I'm more excited for than most. First thing I noticed straight away is that they've gone back to their roots with this old school Reebok symbol. I love that. They feel about the right weight for that CrossFit shoe. You know, they've got that sturdiness to them that you need to do heavy lifting with a barbell, but then they're also, they're really nice and soft on top, and that's like, you need some sort of give in a CrossFit shoe because you're gonna be doing things like box jumps, running, double unders. Look, I've got a dumbbell, I've got a jump rope. I'm here in a beautiful Sydney park. I don't really want to get these dirty, but they're black, so let's give it a go, hey? Wasn't a full intensity workout, but enough to test the shoe. Like that was just a first run of them, and already, like I'm not looking back. Like they're probably not going to come off my feet for the next 24 hours, but. Yeah, that was a nice first test. Can't wait to do a few more things in them. All right, guys, we've just kicked off the launch of the Reebok CrossFit Nano 9 here at CrossFit Bondi, presented to you by the WOD Life. There's a bunch of elite CrossFitters in there. There's also people like you and me from the community who are just gonna throw down. Those lucky ones have already got themselves a pair. Remember, they just dropped, so you can order your pair right now at the WOD Life. Let's go check it out. You've worked out the nines a little bit. How do they stack up?
Awesome. The shoes for competition were amazing. So there's new forefront like cushioning in the shoe.
PB's my clean the other day in them, so the base is super stable.
Hey guys, that's it for now from the launch of the Reebok CrossFit Nano 9, brought to you by the WOD Life. This has been an awesome day, awesome night, great workout just ran then where everyone jumped in as a team workout. To be honest, I'm still pretty sideways from it. By no small matter, as I was working out then, even in the depths of pain, I was trying to think about the shoe. And even just on the assault bike, like it just had this nice grip, nice, firm, sturdy feel. So I can't wait for this to be my training shoe for the next 12 months until we get the Reebok Nano 10. That's it. Keep converting pounds to kilos. Okay guys, so the next part of my show is an interview with Andreas Glor, who works for Reebok, and he just takes us through the evolution of the Nano 9. Just so we're really clear, like I'm not sponsored by Reebok. I've definitely got a heap of Reebok kit and I love their kit, but this is not something that I'm just pumping out for sponsorship purposes. For those CrossFitters that have seen and worn plenty of Nanos, this is an interesting look at the development of the shoe, and it's actually a really, CrossFit kit is really hard to make because it has to serve the immediate purpose of doing what it should do. That is for shoes, squatting, running, jumping, and then it has to last. And that's obviously very, very hard to do. And for things like grips and skipping ropes and stuff, it's actually quite an art to make them work, but also last. So yeah, really interesting to hear from Andreas, and I hope you enjoy his take on the evolution of the Nano. Hey guys, Ed here. I'm here with Andreas Glor, who's the head of sports marketing for Reebok in the region. Andreas, I know you've done events like this before, but this one's a little bit unique, isn't it?
Yeah, it's it's the first time we've partnered up with a retailer like the WOD Life, who are our specialty retailer for all things CrossFit in Australia, and yeah, it's pretty exciting. A lot of the direction that we're going these days is very much community focused, and getting back into the community, and things like this is really the essence of that. I mean, you can't get much more CrossFit and community based than here at CrossFit Bondi.
Now, you've got some games athletes coming in, but speaking to that community aspect of what you've done, you've also got a bunch of winners that have done an online comp, and they're going to come in and get a session with those games athletes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's something we kind of forget about. I mean, we're around these elite athletes all the time, and we forget how influential they are and how great it is to come and work out and train with them. So for the launch with the WOD Life, we've reached out to some winners, and to give them an experience with games athletes, like you say, with the likes of Rob Forte and Zeke Grove and Jess Coughlin and Harry Roberts as well, to really kind of work out with them, sweat with them, and really, it's what CrossFit's about. You can go into any box in the world and you're on the same level because everyone's there to, blood, sweat and tears throughout a workout.
Now, Andreas, before you take us through the new features of the 9, I'd like to take a trip back down memory lane. Now, I still remember unboxing my very first Nano 1s. What can you tell us about the first ever Nano that was released?
Yeah, look, like I say, this was pretty revolutionary for us. It was the first shoe that we came out for functional fitness, and the most identifying thing is the width of the forefoot.
Yep.
CrossFitters, fitness, squatters and so forth, there's the natural movement of the human foot. As you squat down, your toes spray up.
Yep.
So we wanted to make sure that we've got enough width in the forefoot for that. It's a very light shoe as well, very soft, because we wanted to be able to make it versatile for running, for squatting movements and box jumps and so forth.
If I remember correctly, there was a special way to mold these to your feet.
Absolutely, it's quite funny. It's what we call U-form.
Right.
So U-form is it's a heat molded technology.
Right.
So you put it in the oven, put it in the microwave, not with your popcorn or anything like that, and it heats up the shoe, and then you put it on nice and tight, and it molds around your foot. The whole purpose is because everyone's foot is different. Okay. So you want to be able to mold the shoe to your foot and make it as comfortable as possible.
Absolutely.
Then we go into the Nano 2.
2012.
That's right. A couple of changes here. What we brought in was a material called DuraGrip.
Yep.
So what we found from the feedback from the users of the Nano 1, again, we're always trying to improve the shoes, we're always trying to make our technologies better, is there was a lot of wear in the front.
Yes.
So we added this DuraGrip in here just to toughen it up, because we found a bit of stitching coming off, and again,
That was the upgrade.
CrossFitters go through are pretty tough on their
That's
shoes
right,
as well.
yep.
Breathability was also some of the feedback that came through, so we made it a little more breathable in here.
Awesome.
Still very wide in the front.
Yep.
Again,
Yep.
that's a pretty common and stable theme across all of our Nanos.
It's funny you say about the width, because I remember before having Nanos, I'd always break CrossFit shoes that I was wearing by my toes just busting out the sides, and then that's never happened to me with a pair of Nanos. So
Yeah.
that width is really important.
Absolutely.
Take us to the threes.
Nano 3, what we've got here is what we call DuraCage. So as you can say, it's a little bit stronger across the whole forefoot.
Yep.
Again, because now rope climbs are coming into play a lot more, and part of that is we introduced the Rope Pro under the forefoot here,
Yep.
because we started seeing rope climbs and we started seeing some of these more functional movements come through in CrossFit as well.
Sure.
A little bit stiffer in the heel too,
Okay.
because ollie lifting is obviously a key part of CrossFit
Yeah.
as well.
And around about this time, ollie lifting really started to make its way into lots of programs, didn't
Yeah.
it? So that makes sense.
Absolutely. So again, stronger heel, so it gives you that stability, so you're not flopping around in your lifts as well.
Sure.
Then we go into the Nano 4. This again, it's got the Duratech technology, but one of the major changes here is lightness.
Okay.
So as we started to bring in these new materials and technologies, the shoe got a little bit heavier.
Sure.
So the feedback again was we want a lighter
Lighter
shoe.
shoe.
Still very stiff under the heel for squatting and so forth. And again, just that lightness in the front forefoot, and again, some breathability, and then design aspects too.
Sure. Now we've got two pairs of fives here, is that right?
No, we got fives and
Yep.
the sevens we go into too.
okay, right.
We're going to pump the brakes there, Ed. We've got a long
So I
journey
got
to go.
excited. I want to get to the nines, you can tell.
So Nano 5, this is where we really brought in some new technologies
Yep.
and some changes in the shoe. We partnered up with Kevlar.
Okay.
Same company to do bulletproof vests and
Yep.
so forth. Don't go and shoot yourself in the foot with this or anything like that.
Noted.
What it is, it's really a durability thing.
Right.
So again, because more rope climbs and CrossFitters are putting themselves into harder workouts,
Yep.
we needed to build a shoe that was to be able to withstand that. So partnering with Kevlar, it stiffened up the heel as well, just to make it a little bit stiffer in your squats, a bit more stability.
Yep.
And again, some of that Dura grip around the front to stop that wear and so forth.
It's funny you mentioned the Kevlar material, because for me, when I put the fives on, they were significantly different from the previous four, and now that I know what that is, it's so obvious that was the feeling of
Yeah,
it. So
yeah.
It was a big departure, wasn't it? A bit of a change there.
Yeah. It's again we've got a really strong innovation department at Reebok, and we're looking at ways to improve, looking at new technologies, new materials. I mean, the everyday CrossFitter and the everyday fitness goer wants a shoe that can kind of do it all,
Yep.
and they don't necessarily want to be buying new shoes every 6 months.
Sure.
We want them to buy shoes every 6 months because that keeps us in business. So moving on to Nano 6, probably arguably one of our favourite shoes.
One of my favourites. Yep.
Yeah, it's definitely a crowd favourite and the people's choice.
Yep.
A couple of features in this. It's still got the Kevlar built in,
Yes.
not as wrapped as the Nano 5. We needed a shoe that we found the feedback was it's got to be more wearable. So it's pretty much put your foot straight in and go and train. There was no breaking in period.
Interesting.
It had a couple little features like the heel tab. It's got a thicker tongue as well. Some of the feedback on the 5 was it slipping down. Again, it's just an illustration of what we're doing to try and improve and listening to what CrossFitters want.
Yep.
Again, it's got the Rope Pro, slightly different foot mold here, and the rubbers we've changed a little bit, and also dual density, so it's a little bit easier and lighter to run.
Was that your colour of choice?
No, I went more pink than
Okay, I
purple.
thought
Yeah,
just
brings
thought-
out my eyes.
All right, so that was a 6. Like I said,
That
bit
was
of
a 6.
Bit of a crowd favourite. Now we have two pairs of 7s here, like a 7 and a 7.
7.5 technically what we called it.
Okay, cool.
It was a 7.5, or the official name was a 7 flex weave.
That's right. Yes.
So obviously a huge graphic design change in this.
Yeah.
It doesn't look anything like the 6. Went for bright colors. Some of the feedback we got is, hey, CrossFitters want to stand out, kind of look cool.
Yep.
What we integrated here was what we call a 360 heel cup as well. Again, what we're finding is that for squatting and so forth. The Nanos have been renowned for a shoe that can do it all. We've seen a lot of elite athletes who will only wear a Nano to do all their movements.
Yep.
So we wanted to make sure that we've got a shoe that can be able to do that. A lot stiffer heel in here. We've still got the Kevlar and in the instep for rope climbs.
Yep.
We've changed it a little bit, slight design in the Rope Pro,
Okay.
more of a sleeker design, everything kind of lines and so forth. And again, we introduced a nano weave technology in the upper. Breathability, durability,
Yep.
again, ticking all the boxes that we kind of want from a shoe.
Now the flex weave in the 7.5, as you dub it, this is one of my favorite shoes as well. I love the 7.5.
So this one, what we did, the feedback from the 7 was a little bit stiff. So what we've done here is we've softened up the upper material by integrating, like I say, the flex weave technology.
Yep.
It's the breathability and also the durability in this made it a lot better shoe in terms of for an overall workout. Very solid on the heel as well. It's still got the 360-degree heel cup on here.
Yep.
Nice and stiff on the back. Again, if you like the stiffer shoe, this is really great too. Then we go into the 8, and this is probably a contender to the 6.
Yes.
We're fortunate we haven't had many, if any, negative feedbacks about the shoe. From at first visuals, it looks very similar to the 7 and the 7 Flex Weave, but a couple of major design changes in here is what we across the midfoot. The feedback we got from the 7 was it was quite stiff and really quite hard to run in.
Yep.
So what we've done is we've put a dual density foam into the forefoot, and you can basically there's a nice little line in here and it softens it up. So running, much easier.
I was about to say it's interesting the feedback was on running because I love running in my 8s. Like I feel like they're like better than any running shoe I could buy.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, running is a staple function of any kind of fitness, and especially CrossFit. And we're seeing it in all the games workouts. A lot of we could do it in regional, in the open, we would.
Yep.
Running's fitness.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
We wanted to ensure that we had a product and a shoe that would be able to manage a run up to that mile to 2 kilometre mark.
Sure.
Before you go into some serious running.
Yep.
We revamped the flex weave technology in here with a figure 8 pattern. A lot of it's also streamlined to make the design look quite cool because we want to make sure it looks good. The gum, everyone loves gum.
Yes, everyone loves gum, don't they?
And then we also, one of the features in here was we put in a neoprene heel support and ankle cuff in here.
Yes.
Again, some of the feedback going back to that wearability, just putting the shoe straight on, it fits, there's no breaking in, and just really comfortable. And this is some of the feedback we had from when we designed product with Rich Froning and so forth, who never does his shoes up, he wants some support in there, but loves it really nice and comfortable.
Hey, just one question on those. There seem to be so many cool colorways on those, and even recently there's been more released. It's like, was there more designs of that than previously, or?
Well, the way that it works is, the feedback and a lot of the response from people is, why don't we get those cool colors in Australia?
Right, okay.
We are a business, obviously, and we need to manage having all of these cool colors. Is you might think one color is cool, but we need another 500
of them.
people.
Yeah,
exactly. But with the strength of the product and everyone loves a shoe, we're now arranging every single color that's available across the world. So here in Australia and New Zealand, you can get every single color that's available, which is great. Saves the emails and the phone calls that I always get going, why can't we get it?
So we can save you some work.
Yeah.
Now, that's like I said, bit of a trip down memory lane. It's really cool to watch the evolution of the shoe, and I'm sure for those that have owned the shoe, you pick up on little things like that. Like certainly the feel of the 5 was different, the 8 was beautiful to run in. So where does that leave us with the 9? Talk me through the 9.
Probably we're putting the best shoe that we've created in terms of a nano, but we like to say that every year because we're always improving.
Yep.
A couple of major design features in here that we're looking at. We've revamped it.
Yep.
Visually, you'll see what we call the stripes and crosses design on here, which we had in the 1s, 2s, and 3s.
Yeah.
It goes back to our heritage and what we were, renowned for back in the day.
It's so eye-taking when you open the box to see those. What was it? Sorry, it's called
the Vector. So it's a stripes and crosses kind of design template that comes out. Because again, we want this shoe to be able to be worn by everyone. So like we say, it's a nano for all. You can walk down the street with this. I mean, it looks good and visually appealing. We've got a new stretchy flex weave technology in here. Again, super strong, super lightweight, but also really breathable in here as well, because we're sweating a lot in the shoes and we want to be able to make sure that they can handle it. Some of the feedback we got is we want it more runnable, more wearable. So what we've done here is we've actually included a dual density shoe, a midsole shoe.
Okay.
So a lot softer and a lot better for running. We've continued with the neoprene ankle support and cuff in here.
Yep.
And again, with a high heel support for squatting and so forth.